The top story tonight that I wanted to talk about, it was something different till a minute ago. Let me fix the camera here. Get rid of that. So, top story tonight, the U.S. and Russia have reached a ceasefire in Syria. Already at the G20, Trump has already agreed to a ceasefire with Vladimir Putin in Syria, and troops are already being pulled out of areas where fighting was taking place. It's already going into effect. Um, my only hope is that the military industrial complex allows this to continue for a little while. And because I doubt Trump had permission to do this. You know what I mean? Isn't that cute? He thinks he's president. That's sweet. A plus for effort, Trump. You know, I mean, A plus. If I was president, that's what I would want to do while I was there is fucking work this shit out with Vladimir Putin. Ain't no reason to start World War III. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to be up to you, dude. So hopefully they don't kill you because that's what they did to Kennedy when they wanted to start Vietnam. I mean, I don't like you, but I don't want to see that happen to you, honestly. I'd rather you resign or something or get impeached. I really don't want to see it come to them killing you because that's what they're going to do here. But I hope you stand up to them. You know, fuck yeah. Come on, tiny hands, show some balls. You know what I'm saying? Because they are going to come for you now. And I hope you and Vladimir also understand that the CIA will probably pull some false flag bullshit. So I hope that's what they're talking about, how, they'll talk between the two of them, and if it's real war, it'll come from Trump. Vlad's not a stupid guy. I think he understands what's going to happen now. So we'll see what's going on. Hey, Paul, are you a sad-faced cloud right now? Why are you a sad-faced cloud? Anyways, let me go on here to story 2. This was going to be the first story, but I decided it should be the second story now. I wanted to talk about the ceasefire first because I thought that was really good news. The G20 conference riots and protests. Have you guys been following this? Huge protests at the G20 conference in Germany turned violent when more than 15,000 police closed in on the protesters. Protesters set upon the police with iron bars, even attacked a police helicopter with fireworks, and have set the city ablaze. So take note, snowflakes. Other countries know how to fucking protest. They were ready for these cops when they closed in. They started swinging these pipes at them. They fought back from the very beginning, and they're still fighting. So protesters and police are still clashing right now, and you can find many live streams on Facebook. Please wait till after the show. But you can go find a lot of them. You've probably been watching some of them. My crowd, you guys that come here, you guys are there's a lot of awake people in my group of audience members, at least the ones and names I'm seeing. Hi, Kimberly. Hey, Dyer. So if you watch the live feeds, though, let me warn you, some of them are brutal. Some of them that are being done by the actual protesters on the inside there. It's brutal stuff. They're fighting hard over there at the G20. Overseas, they're coming around and really fighting hard against these people. You're noticing a lot of protests like this overseas, but we're going to have to do that here eventually. Eventually, we're going to have to stop being so comfortable. These other places don't have the luxuries that we do, and and they're a little more aware. They have a little more honest media. They get a little more truth. They're not as gullible, but that's through a lot of brainwashing that we've gotten that way. So let's see the next story here. A guy is challenging Bernie in the 2018 Senate race in Vermont. The DNC is attempting to unseat Bernie Sanders in Vermont in the 2018 Senate race, and they found their challenger for his seat. John Svitowski, a Hillary supporter. He's not a former Hillary supporter. He thinks that Bernie's politics are divisive and that he's destroyed the Democratic Party. There's your sheepdog, Bernie bashers. Hell of a sheepdog, fucking tore the whole party apart. Now they want to try to unseat him, even though Bernie won the last election by over 71% of the vote. But I'm concerned that the DNC may attempt to rig this. We already know they're going to throw a bunch of support behind Svitowski, but I'm worried that they'll try and rig these machines to unseat Bernie Sanders. I don't put it past them. I'm sorry, I just don't. Okay, my next story is going to piss a lot of you guys off. I might see that number drop down to 0 here in about 2 seconds come up because I'm about to talk about a couple heroes here. These are just a couple guys I emulate, and I'm still proud of these guys. I'm not bashing them. I'm holding them accountable. Now, I just want to make that clear before I start with what I had to say about Lee Kemp and Jimmy Dore. All right. These two are starting to sound more and more like the insane progressive. They love to bash the Dems and promote Dem exit because it's popular and what people want to hear. You know, people are hurt, and that's what they want to hear about. It's how crooked the Dems are, and how look at this. Look at, you know, I watched him today, and he's talking about Senator Gephardt from Missouri, my old senator, and how he's a lobbyist now, and he works for the Dems, and he's blocking single payer. All right, yes, that's happening, but these are the people we got to fucking get rid of. You know, I mean, where's the plan, Jimmy? What should people do, Lee? I mean, yes, the Democratic Party is corrupt to the core, but where are we going from here, guys? I mean, what's the plan? I'm open to hear it. You guys are smarter and have more political experience than I do. So tell me the plan. I'm waiting for the plan part. All I hear about is how dirty the Dems are and how we all need to leave and take our ball and go home. You know, are we going to vote our way out of a rigged election? I don't hear either one of you talking about election reform, you know, or addressing the problems there. You do talk about how things are rigged, but where are your solutions? You know, I mean, you guys are pumping for ratings too. And, you know, don't bullshit a bullshitter. I could sit here and talk about Dem exit and how dirty the Dems are and see my feed drop to 5 people. I could do that because I know that's what people want to hear. Okay. But in the politics part of this, guys, which I've told you 100 times is a small part, it's about 15%. In the politics part, it is unrealistic for us to expect not to get our hands dirty. Okay. You're going to have to get your hands dirty and play in the mud a little bit until we fix things to a level where you can have 3 to 7 parties. You know, I think what we need first off is to be pushing right now, you know, 3 years out from the election for massive, massive election reform. I personally think we need to be pushing for a paper ballot system like they use in Europe and Germany. That's my personal preference. Now, if you want, I can link some stuff up here about that. Because if we don't fix the fact that these machines are rigged, and all the gerrymandering, if we don't massively attack election reform before 2018 even, but 2020, definitely. If we don't do that, then none of this is going to matter. You cannot vote your way out of a rigged election, and it's unrealistic to tell people that you can. And Jill and Ajamu also, I'm going to throw them in the pot too. They should be pushing for that as well because they know their votes were stolen. They know the election was rigged. They don't deny that. But where is the talk of election reform? Where is the talk of where we need to go? Where is the plan? You know, don't tell me how bad the Democrats are. I know that. We need to unseat them. But we need to fix the elections to do it. Without starting there, we have nothing. And from there, what's the rest of my plan? I think that we, at first, have to take over the Democratic Party. You have 2 parties recognized in our elections. There will only be 2 parties on the debate stage. There will only be 2 parties that really get their votes counted. These machines did not count the green votes in the last election. I know that for a fact because mine weren't counted. So since that's a fact that we all know, and they even acknowledge that the machines can be rigged at this point, which means they know that they've always known they could be rigged. Now they're blaming Russia, but it was them. They just didn't do a good enough job. And they didn't rig it enough because we really held our ground and did what we said we were going to do. And they thought we were bluffing. But enough of us weren't. So Hillary lost. Trump became president. Don't think they're not going to try and do that shit again. It's unrealistic to think that they'll give up just because they almost got caught. They don't give a fuck that they almost got caught. They're going to walk scot-free in this DNC case. I don't know how the judge is going to rule on it. He's going to have to say that voting doesn't matter because they basically admitted it and say it over and over again that they did rig it, and it doesn't matter that they rigged it, and there's nothing you can do about it. They don't have to follow their bylaws. They're more like suggestions. You know, they're not really rules. They're more like suggestions. So that judge is in an awkward spot. He's got to get up there and tell and deliver a ruling that says that voting doesn't matter in America. I wouldn't want to have to give that ruling if I was a judge. All that being said, I love Jimmy Dore. He's my favorite. And I love Lee Kemp. I never miss Redacted Tonight. I love both of these guys. Now, we always want to hold Bernie accountable. I think we can hold our journalists accountable too. And if I fuck up, I hope somebody will come to me and be like, hey, Sean, what you just did there, that was fucked up. And this could have been the moment. Tell me. I'm open to hearing it. I know that I'm not always right. Matter of fact, I'm wrong quite often. So when I am, I hope you'll tell me about myself. And I hope that Lee and Jimmy understand if they watch this, no delusions in my head that this will reach them. I'm small fries right now. But if they do, know that I respect both of you and know that I emulate both of you. And I hope to get to your level one day. I'm not bashing you. I just want you to tell people what they need to do, because these people listen to you and they're hurt. So they're listening to you about how crooked the Dems are, which is true. But tell us, where do we go from here? You got to tell people where we go from here. You can't just say, fuck the Dems, let's take our ball and go home, or we'll all go green. Well, how are we going to do that? We need election reform. Now, let's keep it on track. Let's really tell people how to win here if you want to tell them to fuck the Dems. If we're going to fuck the Dems, we got to have election reform first. Otherwise, we got to take over that party. That's the only way. When you show Bernie some election reform, maybe he'll go People's Party. But until then, that's his only path. His path is not as clean as our path. He's got to get his hands dirty. We don't, except when we play politics. And that's only 15% of the time. This is the lowest number of people that have been in any of my live feeds since I first started this show. And I don't give a shit, because what I just said was true, and I'll say it again. I'd say it to either one of their faces, and I would hope that they would say the same to me if I started fucking around and sounding like the same progressive. I hope anybody will say something to me if I ever start babbling on like a crazy person, like she's doing. And that's where they're heading. They're heading that way, and they're doing it for the same reason that CNN pushes Russia. It's good for ratings. It's good for clicks. This is bad for clicks. See? Pointing in the wrong direction, but see? It's bad for clicks. Truth is bad. Truth hurts. And I will hurt your feelings sometimes. Matter of fact, I'm doing a whole month of it on my Facebook page. The Triggered Meme Series. I hope you guys are having fun with that. I'm going to close out with a funny story to break the mood after I just... I hope you realize I wasn't attacking the two of them, but after I just talked about some of our heroes and our favorite journalists, I'm not attacking them. I love those guys. I still watch them. Going to watch them again every time they put a video out. They're my heroes in this. That's who I want to be like. I just am holding them accountable. That's all. All right, the CNN Trump meme war is going to be the final story here. Have you guys been following this shit? All right, CNN, this kid, this Redditor, 15-year-old kid, he made a meme of that wrestling match where Trump slams McMahon, I think, and they put the CNN logo on McMahon's head. But the kid put CNN's logo on Trump's head, and Trump slams it, and beats it up. It was a wrestling match. Happened a long time ago. But it was hilarious. But CNN got their feelings hurt, right? So they called this kid out, and they found him. They went and found this kid, and they told him if he didn't apologize and retract the meme and promise never to do it again, they would release information about him and tell everybody who he is, which is illegal, by the way. So they threatened a 15-year-old child over a meme, and the internet responded in kind. The memes are nonstop now, and they're better. Each one's funnier than the last. My favorite is the one where he's a running back running over CNN, fucking stepping on heads. You fucked up, CNN. I don't know what you thought you were doing, but what you did was the opposite of how to keep this quiet. All you did was wake the beast. Now you got a bunch of 15-year-old kids to find. Good luck. The harder you try, the more they're going to fuck with you, too. You just fucked up bad. If you didn't like CNN memes, you just created about 1,000. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking. I'm going to go after a kid. Good idea. Whoever the producer was behind that idea, congratulations. You just fucked up. But there's no such thing as bad publicity, so who knows? They may want this. It could be that. I wouldn't put that past them to have done this just so people would make a shit ton of memes. You know what I mean? They're not stupid. So it could be that. Because like I said, there's no such thing as bad publicity. More times, because their audience is going to be all defensive now. Like, look at all these fucking memes. CNN's great news. What are you talking about? No, CNN's fake news. You want to talk about what's fake news? CNN is fake news. They've had to fire about, 4 or 5 journalists in the last 6 months over fake stories? CNN is fake news. MSNBC, Fox, that's fake news. The only place to get any truth is from guys like me, Lee Camp and Jimmy Dore, Tim Black, independent journalism, the cabin, what's her name? Somebody help me. She's got the curly hair, Claudia Stauber, Cabin Talk. Shit like that. Don't watch this same progressive. She's lost her fucking mind. She needs counseling. She really has snapped. I don't know what happened to her. But that's enough of me babbling on. We have gotten to you guys as part of the show. So I'm going to drop my plug again right here. and I'm going to talk about it this time. Everything I do, and I do 5 shows a week. I do 3 shows here. I do 2 podcasts on Podbean, one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. The Tuesday one is a comedy one where it's like a morning show type of thing. I do still talk about current events because that's what's always on my mind, but I try to make it funnier. It's kind of like this show with, if it was a radio morning show and it was about an hour of me talking, a full hour of me talking. I make the podcast an hour long. So on Thursday, though, it's Progressive Truth with Sean, and that one's a serious podcast, a more serious version of this, where it's news and stuff like that, and I talk about protests and events and bills and things like that that need to be supported, again, for about an hour. So both of those are now live. I have those. I also have my blog, Me on Things and Stuff, which I linked up earlier on the page here. And there I write comedy so far. I left it open. The reason why I changed my name on YouTube and my blogs, I also posted my old blog up there. I used to my blog name used to be Laughing at Life too. But I changed it to Me on Things and Stuff for a couple of reasons. One, when I started this, I wanted to put everything under one umbrella, so it'd all be one name and I could build a name and name recognition. I'll eventually probably switch to something like MODUS, which is just, an acronym for Me on Things and Stuff. Something sleeker. But right now, the reason why I switched to that long ass name is because I want to do all these things. I'm a comic, I'm a journalist, I'm an activist, I'm a writer. So I wanted a place where I could put everything and it would fit. So I named it Me on Things and Stuff. That's how much thought went into that name. So, but I linked up my YouTube channel on here too, and my old blog and my new blog. The new blog's more polished. I'm better at it now. If you look at the old blog, I haven't even touched that one in 2 years. Like I told you, I had to switch to political comedy because I couldn't write silly shit anymore. But that's the stuff I used to do. If you go to Laughing at Life too, that's what I used to do. So let me get to you guys talking now. It's your turn. Those plugs I just put on there, though, that's how you can support me. I've had people that want to do it different ways, like whether it's a P.O. box, me to get a P.O. box and they can mail me money, or they wanted to send me money on Facebook Messenger. Let me go ahead and let you know that Messenger doesn't really work. I don't have a real bank account. I have to get a prepaid debit card, and I got 3 different ones to try to get a donation off of Messenger. It won't work without a real bank card. So if you send me money on Messenger, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it back to you. But these links work. So you can use my PayPal, and I do have a way set up to get that money. Or you can use my Patreon, which is my favorite. I prefer Patreon. Right now I have one patron, Helen, and I love her, and she's amazing. She's pledged $1 a month to my show to support what I'm doing here, which is, if those of you that know that I want this to be eventually 3 to 5 years down the road, basically a TYT with me as your sync. So I want it to be centered around this show and Progressive Truth with Sean. A combination of those 2 things, that's what I want this to eventually be. That's the end goal. And then when I get there, I'll go after being John Oliver or Trevor Noah. That'll be my 10-year goal. So let me see what you guys are talking about. Kathy says, I used to really like Claudia. Debbie drives me nuts and always has. I liked Debbie for a little while until the convention. Actually, a little before the convention. Around the time Bernie endorsed Hillary, she lost her shit. And she's never pulled it back in. She's like so crazy now. I don't know how people watch it. Sometimes snot comes out of her nose. And I'm just like, holy shit, this is sad. It's not even entertaining anymore. It's gotten sad. I think, anyway. But Helen says $1 follow, $1. Yeah, can I ask, is it too much to ask for the fans to follow Helen's lead and pledge $1 to the show? It's $1 a month. And you can turn it off whenever you want. But just to show you follow the shows. Because I see a lot of the same names here, and you guys, I think, are liking what I'm doing. And that's a way to show it. And not only that, it looks better when other people go to my Patreon, because that's open to anyone to search. And people on my YouTube go there. People on my blog go there. It looks better when I have people that are donating. Right now, I got Helen, which is awesome. So it looks good. It looks like somebody else believes in me. It makes other people want to do it too. You see what I mean? Everybody likes to follow the crowd. So when people see me getting donated to, they're like, hey, this sexy guy, a lot of people like him. Maybe we should watch his stuff and find out why they like him. So it helps me. But what else helps me is free stuff too. Don't think it don't. Clicking like, inviting your friends, telling people about the shows here, sharing them, going to my YouTube channel or my blog, all that stuff helps me too. Sharing my stuff is free, and that helps me a whole lot. Let me see. Kathy says I keep trying. She does, and she's the one that donated to me on Messenger. And it's just awful. If you don't have a real bank card, if it's not from a real U.S. bank, first I misunderstood that because I went to Dollar General and I bought me a prepaid card to get the donation off of it. But then it was a NetSpend card, and NetSpend's out of Mexico, and it says you have to have a U.S. card. So I'm like, oh, I messed up. So I go back and I get another prepaid card, this one, the Visa Vanilla, which is an American card. It won't work either. And then I start looking deeper, and it's got to be a real bank card. I don't have a bank account. And I can't get one. My ex-wife liked to write bad checks. I still can't get a bank account. I'm not going to pay a $200 deposit to have a bank account. I don't have $200. So I just have to use prepaid cards. That's what I use. And I can get my money off PayPal with the link I shared in here. And I'll share it again at the end of the show. And also Patreon. I can get it off of both those sites if you want to give me anything donation-wise. If you can do that and you're willing to do that, those are the best ways to do it. I went to look into how much a P.O. box is to get, and it's like $26. Once I start getting donations, I'll be willing to put money into that. But to be quite honest with you, my unemployment just got denied today. So I don't have the money to put into it right now. And, you know, Babas is getting kind of impatient with me because I work my ass off on these shows. And I'm not spending enough time with Babas and doing what I agreed to do, like cut off at 5 o'clock and things like that. Because I don't really have time to cut off at 5 o'clock and not do a good job. And I want to do a good job, because if I'm not doing a good job, you guys won't want to keep coming back and you won't want to share it. And that would be awful for me. So let's see who else is talking here. Deborah says, Democrats are not progressives. Newsflash. No, I'm fully aware. But there are progressives that are running as Democrats, like Josh Ford, I think, what is it? I want to say Wisconsin, but that might be wrong. He's running against Elizabeth Warren. I was in a debate with Josh, and Josh is a progressive. I like Josh. I would like to see him beat Elizabeth Warren, honestly. We need to support people like Josh. Let's see here. That's all I'm saying. The Democrats like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Cory Booker, we need to get rid of them and replace them with people like Josh Ford. Lisa knows Josh Ford. Lisa can tell you about Josh. Hopefully she'll say something about Josh here or post a link to his site. Look into Josh. There are Democrats like Josh trying to get elected. You can't just not vote for somebody because they have a D next to their name. How are we going to get Nancy Pelosi out of office if you don't vote her out of office? You know, you have to play that part. The laws and shit are made in that 15%. So like I said, every once in a while, we got to get our hands a little dirty. You got to play in the mud. You got to get dirty. Just a little bit, though. Most of our job is in the streets. Most of our job is on the high ground. But every once in a while, we got to come down and play where Bernie plays. Just where the laws are made. It's where the bills are passed. And they don't give a fuck if you take your ball and go home. They'd rather you take your ball and go home. But that's not how you get anything done. And it's not realistic to tell people that it is. We need election reform before that's even realistic. Josh is a green, Lisa says. Was he a green in the debate? Because I was debating, okay, here's how the debate was. I think, wasn't he independent? Okay, Josh was independent, I believe, Lisa, I think. In the debate, he was at least representing independence. If he wasn't an independent, because Josh was representing independents, I was representing burners. There was another one there representing Dems, vote blues, and then there was another one there representing the Greens, and it wasn't Josh. It was another guy, I can't remember his name right now, but it wasn't Josh. Josh was on the side of independence, I believe. So Helen says Massachusetts. Kathy, I don't know what that is, Kathy. Facebook, there's a link Kathy shared here. Yeah, Lisa, I know, okay, he's a green now, that's fine. And he might have been then as well. But in the debate, he represented independence. I swear it to you. All right, I promise you that in the debate, Josh was representing independence. I swear it. On a stack of Bibles. Pretend there's a stack of Bibles here. The debate never aired, but you can ask Josh about it. Maybe he remembers me. All right, Cindy says local and state elections matter. People don't take that seriously. Yes, they do. And that's where the Greens should be focusing their energy, is local and state elections. That's where you can win. They can win a lot of city council, a lot of township elections, a lot of mayoral elections. That's where they need to start. You start there, and you start with election reform. Oh, Kathy, I'll look at it later. I will. I'll watch this about 3 or 4 times. I always do. So if you're here again later, know that I'm probably still here too. I obsess over this shit, and I need to really let it go. I need to do the show and put it away. That's what Babels wants me to do. I probably won't even sleep tonight. I do it every week. This is my baby. I'm going to have to analyze it. And I've only got 4 people here, and anytime the feed is this low, I'm hard on myself. So I'm going to beat myself up tonight, trying to figure out where I went wrong. I think I know where I went wrong, but I can promise you this. I will do something like that again. I promise. Okay, if you didn't like me talking about Jimmy Dore and Lee Camp, you're not going to like my shows. Some truth is going to burn a little bit. Sometimes the truth is going to sting. But truth is truth. And don't give a shit what your opinion of it is. And I love you guys, and I hope I don't piss you off and make you leave. Lisa says they don't win there. We tried. They just continue to rig elections. Absolutely. You can't win a rigged election. And me and Josh, that was our points in the debate. Me and Josh both talked about election reform. The Greens just wanted to win a rigged election. If enough people vote Green, we'll win. Well, it's just not true. That's just not true. If they're not counting the votes, then it doesn't matter how many of you vote Green. They don't care. They don't care if the documented vote count is 10%. They'll throw every Green vote in the trash. They'll never let you vote your way out of this until you fix it. You got to fix these rigged elections first. You know, a friend of mine, Rye Grimm, had me do a video for him. He's a big proponent of paper ballot. And after doing this video, I am convinced that that's the way we need to go. Look into it. It's nothing like the Florida recount. Nothing like that. It's very organized and it's very tight. And it only has a 1 to 2% margin of error. That's not bad. And if you have humans, you're going to have that. But if the results fall in that margin of error, they recount automatically. It's really good. Look into paper ballot voting like they use in Germany, and Europe has a system too, but I like Germany's better. When I was researching the video, I like Germany's better. That's what we need. You need elections that are fair and balanced. Otherwise, with this rigged media and rigged elections, there's no way for the Greens to vote their way out of this without election reform. It's just not realistic. All right, Cindy says a lot of people are streaming right now. Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to do any later than this because, like I said, I'm going to have to watch it a couple times because I want to practice. That's how I get better. I used to do that with my stand-up. Well, I still do that with my stand-up. I record every show, and then I listen to it afterwards to listen for things like timing. Did I talk too fast? My rhythm. I'm a professional, and I do this seriously now. This is my job now, even though I only make $1 a month to do it. I'm serious, 100%. I'm 100% invested in this. I work very hard on all 5 shows and my blog. I do a lot of this for you guys, and I am doing that because I know that's what it takes. If you're not willing to do the work, there's no point in messing around, and I am not messing around. I'm serious about this. I want to be Jimmy Dore, Lee Camp level, and I want to be part of that group, and I want to be out there fighting with those guys. And again, I love Lee and Jimmy. I know I did little fatherly advice to them a little earlier in the show. Still love the guys. Hope they're not mad at me. I hope if I ever fuck up, they feel free to tell me. All right, Cindy says too many people are not active and they don't care about politics. That's absolutely right. What was the voter turnout, like 46%? Now, I know a lot of us didn't vote in the Burn Your Bus movement, but still, about 50% of people can't even be bothered to vote. 50% of eligible voters don't even vote, and they'll fucking tell you, man, I don't give a shit about voting. Fuck voting. Fuck that. That is fucking stupid. You know, and a lot of them are disenfranchised. They feel that way because voting is rigged. They'll be like, it's a fucking rigged system. It don't matter what I do. Well, there's truth in that, but it's still a democracy on paper. So if we flood the streets and demand election reform, we can fix that. Red or blue, you should care about that. Red, blue, green, purple, I don't care what color you are. Election reform is the most important issue right now. The most important issue right now. They are admitting on live TV every day that the election was rigged. So that means it can be rigged. They're admitting it now. They had to, because Trump wasn't supposed to be president. That was never supposed to happen. That got away from them, and they overplayed their fucking hand, and that's how it happened. I guarantee you, they rigged the election. I think that's where the green votes went. But they overplayed their fucking hand, and when they were watching the voter turnout roll in, more people didn't vote or voted green or voted for Trump even than they expected. So Trump got to be president. He still doesn't know what he's doing. Did you see him at the G20 today? The motherfucker don't even know how to exit a stage. He got done speaking, and he's so confused. He kept straight in his suit, and then he squirted a little to the left. No one helped him. And he just standing up there. By the time he's done, he's like 5 feet away from the podium now, standing in the middle of the stage. Still don't know where to go. He's looking back at his Secret Service agent. Nobody's telling him, hey, come over here. He don't know how to leave the fucking stage, guys. He's a joke. And he just made a ceasefire with Putin. The military-industrial complex and the CIA probably laughed their ass off. That's not going to stop anything. I don't think anybody's even told him he ain't really president. He ain't president of shit. We ain't had a real president since Kennedy. So Trump definitely ain't fucking president. He's just a fucking stuffed suit that people make fun of. Not one world leader respects him. Did you see the mainstream media making such a big fucking deal out of him shaking Putin's hand? So what? I bet you everybody in that room shook Putin's hand. Angela Merkel, it turns out, had that photographer follow Trump around to get that picture, so she could be sure to get a picture of Trump shaking hands. And it wasn't even a best buddy handshake. It was across the fucking table. And yeah, he patted him on the back, but he patted Kanye West on the back too. He pats everybody on the back. So fucking what? So fucking what? Our president wants to have a friendly relationship with Russia. Why is that so fucking outrageous? I don't like the guy. That's the one thing I agree with him on. This Syria ceasefire is the best thing that man's done since he fucking got in office. Even though it won't stick. I'm proud of him for doing it. He is embarrassing, Cindy. He's totally embarrassing, completely embarrassing. He's a joke. But I'm proud of this Syria ceasefire. I got to tell you, you wouldn't have saw that shit from Obama. I don't care how much more polished Obama was, we'd already be in full-fledged war with Syria and probably Russia. If Obama or Hillary was in there, they get shit done a little faster. Trump's a bumbling idiot. All right, we got to start looking at that as a strength. Trump is a bumbling idiot, and this Syria ceasefire shows me that they haven't even told him he's not really president yet. So they probably have to now. He's making real agreements with people. This is the first agreement with Russia since he took office, by the way. For best friends, they don't make very many agreements. All right, let's see here. Cindy says spokesperson for the oligarchy. Oh yeah, he's a puppet. He's fully on board. Trump's not really president, but this Russia thing shows that he thinks he is. I don't think anybody's told him he's not really president in that way, but he's never been our president. Fuck that dude. I'm not defending Trump. I'm saying the Russia thing was a good gesture. A+ for effort on that. Fuck the rest of what you've done since January. You're a piece of shit. Of course. The motherfucker has a gold toilet. I'm not defending him. There's no defending that. Helen says, I think they manipulate his inexperience to maximize his awkwardness. He's used to business meetings and not ceremony. No, and she's right. They do overplay his stupidity as a weakness. And I think that they do that because, and he would do that. It's in the art of the deal to play weak sometimes, although he likes to play strong. He always favors strong, but it is also in the art of war to sometimes let your enemy think you're weaker than you are. Like Ali did it with George Foreman in the rope-a-dope. So it's A and B. He's not as dumb as people think he is. And then B is he doesn't understand politics, but nobody's helping him. Nobody's helping him. They're letting him just fumble around like an idiot. You know, and the press secretary and stuff, they defend him, but everybody else, they're doing real shit behind his back. He's not even really president, and nobody's told him yet. Mike Pence is basically your president. Think about it. Trump still has a personal Twitter. Nobody's took that away from him yet. He's not really president. He's a distraction. He thinks he's president, but he's not. And other world leaders know that shit too. And honestly, I think a lot of the world leaders, it's heavily implied that they know that Bernie is our rightful president. That Bernie Sanders should be president right now. That's heavily implied sometimes. You know, I've seen Angela Merkel talk before and how it's implied. She never comes out and says it, but that this is not the rightful president. And we all know who is. Because Bernie beat Hillary in the primary. The Democrats have now admitted that. They've admitted they rigged the primary. Bernie whipped her ass. And Bernie would have whipped Trump's ass. So Bernie is your rightful president, hands down. Anybody that can present me a case where Trump beats Bernie in the general election, I'm open to hearing it. I don't see it happening. I see if that would have happened, Trump would have quit before the general election, and Pence would have had to run against Bernie. By the second debate, Trump would have wanted no more of that shit. Bernie would have torn him apart, and he'd have done it with class. And then by the third debate, Bernie would be debating Mike Pence because Trump would have took his ball and went home because he'd have went home with his tail between his legs. Then Bernie would run against Pence, and Bernie would win. That's what would have happened, folks. That's my prediction for if Hillary hadn't rigged the election. So Hillary gave you Donald Trump. If you love Hillary, you have to know that deep down because now it's documented fact in court. The Democrats have admitted multiple times they rigged the election. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I think, was even Jar Jar Binks was even quoted as saying, "So what?" That's the entire purpose of superdelegates, and and they had to rig it even further. The superdelegates weren't enough. He beat her so bad that they couldn't do it with superdelegates. They had to rig it too. Some of those exit polls were 14 to 16% off. Over 1% is proof of election rigging. 14 to 16, they stopped doing exit polls towards the end of the primaries. That's how bad it was. Even with superdelegates, they couldn't beat him. He'd have beat the fuck out of Trump too. So every American, red or blue, it doesn't matter, should be outraged about that. If you don't like Trump, you have him because of Hillary and the DNC. And on that, Jimmy Dore, Lee Camp, Tim Black, Claudia Staubert, and even the same progressive, they're all correct. But you can't fight by taking your ball and going home, and you can't win a rigged election. So your plan forward has to be something other than those two things. All right, Kathy says, when the First Lady isn't circumspect enough to avoid being Photoshop slapping his hand away, it's not hard to see why the rest of the world refuses to shake it. Did you see the President of Poland's First Lady walk right past him and shake Melania's hand? That was great. The look on Trump's face was fucking priceless. Cindy says Obama was a spokesperson for oligarchy too. That's the president's job description. Yes, it is, and it has been for a long time. Like I say, Kennedy's probably your last president. Your last real president was John F. Kennedy. Cindy says our government breaks agreements all the time. That's like our specialty. Let's see who else is talking here. Sorry about that. Kathy says Trump would have absolutely quit before the general in that scenario. And Bernie against Pence? Bernie would have trounced Pence. Easy. Think about it. Republicans always vote because so your voter turnout on your Republican side, true red Republicans, they always have an I voted sticker on their hat or their shirt on election day. Republicans are loyal. So yes, they vote for Trump just like they voted for, just like they closed their eyes and swallowed their pride and voted for Trump, they'd vote for Mike Pence. But Bernie would trounce the shit out of Pence. We're the largest voting group, progressives, independents, and Democrats. Liberals, we're the largest voting group by far. And if we could get some of these non-voters on board, we'd be unstoppable in a real election. But until we have a real election, until we have massive election reform, that's not realistic. So the only plan really is the Dem-Enter plan. The only plan is Bernie's plan. If we don't push for massive election reform, we don't have a choice anywhere else. We don't have a chance. So let's say Bernie goes People Party without election reform. Bernie would win, and we'd all know that. But he wouldn't win. Even Bernie in the green ticket would have lost. He would have. If Bernie would have went with Jill, they would have lost. They would have probably even got 5%. They don't give a shit about rigging it to that extent. They did that in the primary. They'll do it again. If you don't demand election reform, we got no way out of this. We got no hope. No chance to win a rigged election. There's just not. So Kathy says our first ladies, though, even Laura Bush had class coming out of her ears. Melania doesn't want to be first lady. Trump was not supposed to be president. Nobody signed up for this shit. That's why her and Barron live at Trump Tower still. She's like, fuck that. I'm not living there. He doesn't want to live there either. Look how miserable he is. He goes to Mar-a-Lago every weekend. And by the way, no Republican has a problem with that. If Obama went golfing every other month, people lost their shit. But Trump is at Mar-a-Lago every weekend, not every weekend. And that's not even Camp David. That costs money for him to go there. What is it, like $3 million? And nobody cares. Nobody bats an eye. They just let that motherfucker go play at Mar-a-Lago, and they run the government behind his back. It's a fucking show. Pathetic, quite honestly. Let me see. Is anybody else talking here? Let's see. I got 4 people left here. Have I lost everybody? Cindy, how do we get real elections? I touched on it earlier. I don't know if you were here or not, but we need to demand election reform. On paper, we are still a democracy. If we flood the streets, like Bernie said, hundreds of thousands of times, it takes millions of us standing up and demanding it to get any real change. It's the only way change has ever happened in this country, and it's the only way change will ever happen in this country. And if we don't start doing it, we're going to lose the ability to do it. Because like I say, we're only a democracy on paper right now. So if we start flooding the streets and we demand election reform, and what I think we should go for is this paper ballot system they have in Germany, we can have a fair election. We can have a real election. Now, the rigged media, that's the next thing we got to do. But we were supposed to have boycotted that. I don't know why I still see Rachel Maddow show up in my Facebook feed. How does anybody know what she's talking about? I don't know other than the people that share her shit. I thought we all agreed to stop watching that garbage. I mean, watch people like me, Lee Camp, Jimmy Dore, Claudia Stauber, real independent journalism. Some of TYT, Jordan Charlton is a very good reporter. I don't like St. Unger. I think he's a sellout, establishment sellout. I think he's sold out. But parts of TYT are good. RT is good. There's a lot of good independent journalism that you can get your news from. You don't have to watch these people. And they depend on you to watch them. Without ratings, they don't survive. You know, and they're just liars and propagandists. And all they do is confuse regular people who think that's real news. And there's also elements of MK Ultra in there too. You notice how at the beginning of every news show, it's that hypnotic shit that goes on the screen. That's hypnotic. It really is. And it does put you in a state that you're more receptive to this bullshit. I'm serious. Look it up. Look up MK Ultra and news programming. You'll see what I'm talking about. I want to talk about MK Ultra and how it's still around I'm starting to not be able to talk. I've been talking a long time. In a conspiracy theory and show coming up, I'm going to cover MK Ultra and how they actually still do use it. Let's see. Kathy says Hillary was the first lady to go off the reservation. And Meliana is a fucking porn star. Yeah. Well, I mean, she is. I mean, no disrespect. I'm fine with that. A friend of mine's wife is a stripper, and she's a really nice lady. It's the oldest profession on the planet, but yes, she is a porn star. Cindy says, yes, I was here. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the only way, Cindy, I think. I don't see any other way. You got to have election reform, and right now we got a dem enter, unfortunately. Until we have election reform, we only have 2 parties. And I think we all know that. I think we know the Greens were screwed over, and they will be screwed over again. I think we all know that they got 5%, at least 5%. I think it was probably closer to 10. But on paper, they didn't even give them 1. They embarrassed them on purpose. And that was because we stood our ground, and they were pissed. And they had to flip mostly all of the Green votes to Hillary, which is what I think happened. And I think Jill and Ajamu know that. So the fact that they're not screaming for election reform, that sets off red flags for me. Lisa says protesting isn't legal in most states anymore. All right, it's not legal in Germany either, to the effect that these people are doing it. But I'm not calling for violence, but we need to flood the streets anyway and make them arrest us in those situations. It's just what it's going to take. I know it's scary. I know it's getting scarier, but it's only going to get scarier. Your police departments are militarized. Bill Clinton made that possible. And they're only going to get more militarized, and eventually they're going to come and they're going to lock it all down. And they're going to put people like me. But they're going to put people like me in the FEMA camps, and they're going to shut all this shit down. Once net neutrality falls, people like me will go away anyway. Maybe that's all it'll take. But if that's not enough, then they'll put us away. They'll get rid of us. That's what they've always done. All the way back to William Cooper when he talked about 9/11, and all of a sudden he died mysteriously. It's a big risk doing stuff like this, you know. I don't give a shit anymore, though. It was this or stop performing, and I didn't want to do that. I love it. So I had to perform in a different way. Yeah, Helen, I think I was talking about something I ain't supposed to talk about. Because I got a brand new modem, guys. I have put money into my internet here, and we got a brand new modem, and it's a lot better modem. I have a stronger connection, so it's not as much my fault anymore. So Lisa says, yeah, Jordan finally caved under corporate pressure. You think Jordan sold out now too? I haven't seen any of his reports recently. He might have. I liked him during Dakota Access Pipeline. I liked a lot of his reports during that. Lisa says, if we're throwing reality out the window, what we really need is a nationwide strike, but that's never going to happen either. I don't really want to talk like that, Lisa. Honestly, we do need a nationwide strike, and I think it can happen. I don't want to be defeatist. I'm not ready to give up. If I was ready to give up, I wouldn't even be doing these shows. What's the point of any of this? Why don't we all just go home and stop this and get another hobby? Maybe we can start coloring. I really like coloring. I got a badass coloring book recently. It's some new colored pencils. We could all start up a new hobby like that. If we're not going to fight back, then there's no point in anything. I'm hearing that I've just got a black screen at this point, so I'm going to post my links one more time, and I'm going to wrap up the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've apparently crossed the line tonight and said something I'm not supposed to say. Those are the links you can support my show on by using, and you can donate to us there. Please like and share. If you don't want to donate, that's great too, and that helps me also. Thank you guys so much for supporting our shows. We'll be back here on Monday with Conspiracy Theories and Chill. If you have any ideas for episode ideas, go ahead and let me know what they are in the comments, and I could do your topic. I did Agenda 21 for Lisa this week, but we're going to have to do that one again, Lisa, I think, because I think it was bad timing with the holiday weekend. There was nobody here for that either. I've been having no luck with these feeds, people showing up to the feeds this week. But it's a holiday week. It's just I do this I'm going to run into that. Because if Christmas falls on a Friday, I'm still going to do this show. Probably. I may cancel it for Christmas, but maybe not. Maybe not. I love doing this. It's why I do it. I do it out of love. And I hope to see you guys again on Monday for Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Thank you for coming.